So a surprising number of people don't understand museum, art, movies, and television reflect what is called artistic license, known as dramatic and historical license, narrative license. So basically it's based off of a narrative. And a lot of movies that we see are not historically correct, especially if we're talking about so-called race, okay? Because most of the ancient world, the civilizations were people of color, or what you would call black. And there's many evidence and proof to prove these claims. And we've all heard the old saying, money talks, all right? Correction to the lies of the white man's history. Contrary to the racist revisionism of modern whites, Rome, like Greece, was a multi-ethnic, multiracial society with many blacks or mixed race kings, black popes, black commanders, soldiers, sailors, and of course, citizens. And we do recall from the scriptures, I know some don't believe in the New Testament, but if you're looking at it from a historical point of view, Paul claimed to have Roman citizenship, and he was a Jew or an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. But anyway, being mindful of the white man's propensity for manufacturing fake artifacts to show whites, there is no guarantee that the following busts are accurate. And of course, much to our current crop of Greek and Roman sculpture, our 18th and 19th century creations, we oftentimes compare coins with busts to ascertain the truth. But unfortunately, whites are also expert at creating perfect fake coins, which look like ancient coins, so there's no guarantee there either. The one saving grace is that with black kings, the fabricators will sometimes leave a hint of blackness in the image, or that Negroid feature, rather than making it appear pure white. Thus, from that hint, we can extrapolate. So I'm reading from Nature Knows No Color Line, page 29. Negroes from ancient Greece. Negroes were first worshipped in Greece and Rome. White masses bow down to black deities. The rites of Apollo were founded by Delepos and his Negro mother, Melanus. I think that's where we also get the word melanin from. And the worship of Black Isis and Horus was popular in Rome, in the Roman colonies as far north as Britain. When this latter evolved into the worship of the Black Madonna and the Black Christ, Christian whites also bow down to them. Next is page 31. Negroes, as was said, were deified in early Greece. They appeared as gods in Greek mythology. The chief title of Zeus, the greatest of the Greek gods, was Ethiops, that is black. So if most of the deities in Rome and Greece were Negroes, since they were deified, then what color was Zeus? What color, was his son, Hercules or Hercules? Because most of the deities had woolly hair and pigmentation in their skin. It was not what you call white. So we have the fake and narrative movie 300, and we got more of a realistic depiction of the ancient Spartans or Corinth. And there's a real good website, North African History, at realhistorywww.com. Real good, insightful website. All of the so-called black man's history. Okay. Herodotus identifies the Spartans not as whites, but a combination of the Phoenicians and the Mayans. Herodotus' identification of the founders of Cyrene as Mayans appears to be supported by this Etruscan bowl below, which clearly depicts the Cyrene king as a black man with cornrows hairstyle. And we know that cornrows and braids are well associated with so-called black people. And it's evidently, you can see it in the depictions here with the cornrows or dreads or locks, extending from his helmet. Also depicted in the coin with the Negroid features. But also I have this Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. And it states about the Phoenicians. Okay. It says that the term Phoenicia is from Greek, word meaning dark red. Perhaps because the Phoenicians were the discoverers of the crimson purple dye derived from the Murtox shellfish. And we also see in the X-Men that Magneto's helmet is of Corinth or Spartan, and the colors are purple and red. So that's a dead giveaway, that he knows that the original ancient Spartans were people of color, Shemitic, black people. All right, it says these people were Shemites, not Semites, but Shemites.
This whole notion of anti-Semitism. The one thing that it is incorrect statement, because the whole idea of a Semites were people who lived in southwestern Asia, including northeast Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, who spoke Ugaritic, who spoke Ge'ez, who spoke Ethiopic, spoke Hebrew, who spoke Arabic. Those are our people. We are a Semitic people. Therefore, we cannot be anti-Semitic.
So we know that the Shemites were people of color, which you will call so-called blacks, who came in at migration from the Mesopotamian region during the 2nd millennium BC. They became great seafarers, establishing colonies at Carthage in Spain, and perhaps even reached England, which they did, Britain. They were famous shipbuilders, Ezekiel 27:9. Shout outs to the pastor who said blacks didn't do anything till the so-called Caucasians got here. And carpenters, 1 Kings 5:6. Its most famous cities were Tyre and Sidon. Its religion was polytheistic and immoral, and was brought to Israel by Jezebel, 1 Kings 16:31, 18, and 19. Hiram, one of their kings, was friendly with David and Solomon, 2 Samuel 5:11. All right. So I'm sure most people are familiar with 1st and 2nd Corinthians, or the Corinthian helmet, or the Corith. It was a helmet originated in ancient Greece and took its name from the city-state of Corinth. It was a helmet made of bronze, which in its later styles covered the entire head and neck, with silts for the eyes and mouth. A large curved projection protected the nape of the neck. And we've seen in the movie 300 where the Spartans wore the iconic helmet. As you can see, Stanley was heavily influenced by the ancient black Spartans, or the Corinth. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, once you understand the characters of the Bible, they're all largely Negroes, the Shemitic family line. The book is about genealogy. And so the wars, the Maccabean Wars, and all these were black civilizations. The Egyptians, the original Israelites, or Jews, or Yehudi, or Judeans, the Spartans, the Grecians, the Greeks, the Etruscans. Those were all Shemitic people of color. But you won't learn this in history. Some will say, oh, you're Afrocentric. You can't be Afrocentric if the whole world is populated, full of people of color. So a lot of these directors, they know the true historical aspect and the vast majority of the different phenotypes and stocks of Negroes throughout history, especially the Corith, or the Spartans. Denzel Washington played Malcolm X. I think it was in 1992 or 1990. And he's rumored to play Magneto. And this would be a true historical depiction of the Spartans, or the Corith. And you had a lot of tribes that didn't know they was Israelites, and you had some that did know they was of the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But even in Romans 10 and 12, there's no difference between Jew and the Greek. Now in the church, they say it doesn't matter whether you're black or white. That's nonsense. The simple fact that the Jews and the Greek were of the same lineage, okay? Through wars, migration, and mixture, assimilation of different cultures, polytheism, monotheism, they lost who they were. So you had Paul and his 12 disciples preaching the gospel, and then they went to Britain. And we know from history that the Britons, the Welsh, all those were Celts, Gauls. Those were black people, so-called black people. So all these regions were full of people of color. But you won't learn that in history, going to school, because everything is whitewashed. One last thing. The Roman historian Cornelius Tacitus, 56 through 118 AD, describes the Germanics thusly, quote, "They appear as a distinct, unmixed race, like none but themselves, hence too the same physical peculiarities throughout so vast a population. All have fierce blue eyes, red hair, huge frames," and we know that blue eyes, red hair is a recessive trait or recessive gene, fit only for a sudden extra. They are less able to bear laborious work. We know that's not so-called black people, because they had our ass working and picking those cotton fields, especially here in the Americas. And our ancestors in Egypt, or Kemet, or Metraim. Heat and thirst they cannot in the least endure. To cold and hunger their climate and their soil allure them. So this is talking about the barbarians or these Germanic tribes. Okay. The Huns conquered as far west as Germany, which caused many of the native people of Germany, including the black Celts, to move westward to avoid the Huns. The Huns formed a unified empire centered in Germany under Attila the Hun. When he had died in 453 AD, their empire broke up the next year. Once the Huns had quit Europe, the albinos, or so-called whites, rampaged throughout Europe and into North Africa, accumulating in the destruction of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. The Roman Empire had split into Eastern and Western divisions in the 4th century. The Eastern Empire was the Greek-speaking Byzantine Empire, which ruled from Constantinople, if I'm pronouncing it right, Anatolia, Turkey. The Eastern Roman Empire remained intact. So basically, they're invaders.
Perceptions are about what it's like to be black.
These are very important documents. Look, the binding, book binding in Ethiopia. The cover, wooden board cover, as you see. Everything is made at home. So, this is 15th century manuscripts. Sometimes, it's amazing that, people in the 15th century, were they, aware of color? All the saints, even the Virgin, is painted black. Even today, we don't find such paintings in churches. Not always, a bright color, not black color. So it has to be studied very, very well. This type of documents. Look, even the evangelist. This is Matthew. And the harag or the decorations. All this, And as I told you at the beginning, piece of clothes to cover. It is cotton made. This is, homemade clothes. So they protect it not to be destroyed, the painting. So this technology, look, this different science. This is, in different places. The full stops. The title of the book. And the numbers even, what we see today and in the 15th century, they are different. The transformation, it has already changed. So these are very important to study, as I told you, different disciplines. The language is the language and linguistics. The paleography, the calligraphy, the paleography. Look, the position of all the ma and the sa, all this, the ha. All these are completely different from today's, Ethiopian language. So this is very important for a paleographical study, very important for art history,